Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. There's enough of you all coming in, and I know everybody will join in. This is Fresh Baked Manna Live, and I come to you all every morning because I have a desire to build your life and to build your faith and to see you become the person that God has called you to be. I am a firm believer that God will give you His word, but it's not just to sit on grandma's coffee table. The word is designed to get into the intricacies of your life, to make you live life in a way that shows other people who God is. We've been talking about on our 6 a.m. prayer line, we've been talking about the kingdom culture and living your life in a way that shows that God is the reigning king over your life. And so maybe we'll get into that next week, talking about the kingdom culture. But today we're going to continue what we've been talking about. We've been talking about you can do it. We've been talking about the transitions of life and how important it is to transition well from wherever it is that you're going. And then just learning to live your life in a very good space. Why? Because then you're not trying to get ready. That old age-old saying that if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And so then when the transitions of life come, you're able, because you've regulated your life in such a way that you have created a culture within your life that you can tell when things are starting to shift. And then you know how to make those necessities with God's wisdom. You learn how to make those necessary adjustments to align yourself with where you're going. It is so important that we transition well and that we realize in those times where we may experience, this somewhat of a detachment from where we were. It's like it doesn't bring me joy anymore. I just don't feel it like I used to feel it. Well, it's time for a transition. It doesn't make where you are bad. And that's the mistake that some of us make. We sometimes think that where I am is jacked up. No, it's not that. It's just that there's a change that's happened on the inside of you, and God wants you to learn how to navigate that change well. And you can do that. And so today we're going to be talking about the fact that, when you're going through all of these different transitions, you got to remember that your journey is for somebody else. My journey is for you. Your journey is for me. Our journeys are for somebody else. When you study different things like the wilderness experience into the transitions of life, you can't help but to notice that no matter who the person is, somehow, when they got into this place of transition, nobody went through a wilderness experience or a transitional experience solely for him or herself. Every individual went through what they went through, because their life was designed to impact somebody else's life. And so somebody else's life was changed in a very powerful way because they had to go through these various transitions. Moses went through the wilderness, and when it was over, he elevated to the place of deliverer. And then, not only that, 2.5 million people were set free from slavery from one man's willingness to go through the wilderness, to go through the difficult times, to go through the transition. He left a very prominent place next to Pharaoh to follow what was in his heart. Remember, I told you all that many years ago, I was standing on the corner of Michigan Avenue, and my dear friend Millie said to me, Melva, God never, ever intended for you to pick up somebody else's vision and let your own die. Just like he has a vision for somebody else, he's got a vision for you. And at that point and season of my life, I didn't have vision for my life. All I was thinking about was how I could best serve somebody else. And that's a good place to be, because then that means that you're not consumed with you. That God can take your life and he can put your life in different places because you're not consumed with, well, what about me? What about me? No, you realize I'm here to serve God's mission in the earth. And to serve God's mission means that at some point in time, you're going to find yourself serving under the mission of another individual. And so Millie said that to me. She said, God never intended for you to seek after or promote somebody else's vision while letting yours die. And I said to her, I said, I didn't even realize that I had a vision, Millie. I didn't even realize it. And so from that day, and I want to say that was maybe 2001, 2002, but from that day to this one, I have been in hot pursuit of God's will for my individual life. Now, don't get me wrong, that includes other people. My life is destined to influence other people. There is no way that you will ever find yourself in a place of significance and somebody else's life is not going to be impacted by it. You think about Elijah. When he went through what he went through, when it was over, he was elevated to the position of the leading prophet of the land, and then he ended up saving an entire nation. Jesus went through times of transition and even into the wilderness, and when it was over, he became Lord over the entire world, and all of humanity was redeemed by the grip of Satan. What he did when he overcame the temptation of the enemy on that mountain is he overcame it for every one of us. And he sealed the deal for each and every one of us that no matter what may come against us, we would have the power to undo, dissolve the works that the devil might try to do in our lives. And so you have the victory because of the price that one man, Jesus Christ, paid. And so your experience of transition, your wilderness experience, it's not any different. It's not just for you, it's for somebody else. And so your times and seasons of proving, of testing, those days of difficulties are really for a greater cause. And you can't forget that. I'm going through what I'm going through because somebody else needs me to get through it. This is why Revelation says that they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, right? There is no testimony without the first word in testimony is test. And so there is no testimony without you getting through the test. And so it's going to raise you to a new level. And your ability to get through means that somebody else on the other side of your journey is going to be set free. They're going to be delivered. They're going to be made whole. They're going to be increased because that's what life is all about. Whether you all realize it or not, your life is designed to add value to somebody else's life, to make somebody else realize that there's worth in them, that God has a plan for them, that there's something good that you can contribute to them. I'm telling you, my rise, my claim to fame in life is I've helped somebody, that I'm helping somebody, I'm helping to platform somebody to get somebody else where God is wanting them to be. And so we have to recognize that we don't live in and of ourselves or under ourselves. Our lives are uniquely connected and they're interwoven together for God's divine purpose. His plan is for the rising tide, like Tim McMurtry says, to lift everybody's boat. When I come up, those that are around me are coming up with me. I don't, we all have these dreams about winning the lottery. It's 200 million right now, or it was 200 million the other day. And I was driving down the street and I saw that billboard and I was thinking, man, I would bring everybody I love around me and say, here's something for you, here's something for you. We all have these ideas about what we would do if we had a whole lot. Well, what are you doing with what you have right now? That's going to determine, what you're going to do when you get a whole lot. If you're stingy with what you got now, you ain't going to give nothing when you get a whole lot. And so point blank, we need one another. I need you to get through your wilderness experience victoriously because your victory is setting the stage for my victory. And that's what it's all about. So your tenacity, your unwillingness to quit, your tenacity to fight the urge to complain or to quit, that's essential because, you quit. When you quit, in essence, those that are connected to you end up getting shortchanged, and many of them will quit also. We're just that connected. And so you may be going through a rough time and you may be struggling to see clearly or to hear God's voice matter of factly. But it's really, really important that you understand that if you throw in the towel, you also run the risk of the person or the people behind you throwing in their towel. I like that illustration. Paul said in the scriptures, follow me as I follow Christ. Well, I always say, I'm going to follow. I'm going to follow Paul, or I'm going to follow, the person, my leader, but I'm going to follow close enough that I can see where they're going, but far enough that I can look over and make sure that Jesus is the one that's in front of them. Because I want to make sure, because if you're going in the wrong direction and you end up falling in a ditch, I'm not going in that ditch with you. And so I want to follow behind someone that's following and going on a good path, but I want to stay far enough behind that at any time I can look over to the side and make sure that where they're going is where they should be going. And so somebody else may not make their place of destiny if I don't get where I'm supposed to be, because I realize, and that's a lot of pressure. You may be saying, man, it is a lot of pressure. But the word says that we are fitly joined together. We're uniquely designed to be connected. And so it's true. It's true that somebody is depending on you to do what's in your heart to do. We're all depending on you to make it. So we have to learn to lean on, to strengthen and encourage one another. This is why you got to tell the person that, is acting like they can't do it. Yes, you can. You can do it. You can get through these difficult days. You can make these hard times. I know you've been hurt before, but God is asking you, trust me again. Try again. Stop blaming the people in your life. Stop all of the blaming and all of that, for those that hurt you, trying to get them back. Forget that. That's hindering you. It's affecting your life. It's a new day and a different set of people God is going to put around you. His grace is on you. And so you can go in a little wiser, a little more cautious, but don't neglect your opportunity to connect, to get where you need to get and to get what you need to get, right? And so don't ignore and don't neglect what God puts, in your heart to do. There's things that he wants you to do, and he's going to connect you to a community, to a group of people, who will love you and that will give you what you need. You may not see it, you may not even want it, but believe me, you're going to need it. Many years ago, I had brought a group of women. I strongly believe Jesus had 12, and I strongly believe in the power of 12. I believe that every person should have at least 12 people in their immediate circle. You should be able to list out 12 people, that you're working with, that you're doing life with. And then in that 12, there should be three. And we talked about this before, but there should be three people that you can look to and say, I know they got my back. My husband says they got my back like a chiropractor. They got my back. I mean, no matter what. And they're not overly impressed with me either. They're going to tell me when things in my life are not right. They're going to tell me, you sliding. What you been doing? Why, what have you been neglecting in your life? You're not right now. What's going on? And, even if it hurts me, the Bible says, faithful are the wounds of a friend. And you need a friend in your life that will say, I need to wound you for a second. I love you, but you need to let me wound you. You need to let me say what I need to say to you because I love you and I have your best interest at heart. All of us need that Peter, James, and John relationship. Those people that we can lean on, that we can trust in, that we can confide in. And so one day I was bringing these groups of individuals around me. It was 12 of them, and we were having brunch one day, and I was talking to them and pouring my heart out to them and just saying to them, I need you and we need each other. And one of them stood up and said, I just be honest with you. I don't need anything from any of you. I don't know how you all can help me. I don't need anything. But I'm gonna tell you something. One day that shifted in her life. The very women that she said didn't need were in in that room that day. When something went down in her life, something traumatic went down in her life, all 11 of us was standing right there. And when she was in court, the 11 of us was standing in the courtroom. And so what am I saying? You have to understand that all of us have a group of people, we call them our company, that we need. People are depending on you to be where God has called you to be and to do what God has called you to do. I don't believe that any of us will ever reach our maximum potential until we lock arms and link up with somebody else. I talked about Dr. Samuel L. Chan. If you don't have that book, you need to get that book. It's called Who's Holding Your Ladder? And he tells the story of one day he was in a high-rise building and he was looking out over these buildings and he saw this man climbing up this ladder. Well, we went to the window. He looked down only to see two men, or these men, down on the ground holding his ladder. And he realized that the only reason that ladder could come up 20 stories or however many stories it was because of what was holding it down, the people that were holding it down. And so you can only climb as high as the people that are on the bottom holding that ladder steady. It's really powerful. And so none of us are going to reach our maximum potential by ourselves. And if you study the word, you'll find that God never established any ministry, any business, or any blessing for just one person. It begins with one, but his goal is always the masses. Why? Because God is about family. He wants the whole family coming up together. He wants your life to be full and affected by somebody else, and then he wants you to turn around and affect somebody else's life. And so in order for that to happen, There has to be people around you who love you and motivate you, people who empower you, those again that are unafraid to challenge you to step up your game, to be better than you currently are. And I shared this the other day, that doing what you need to do and having those people with you is just critical. God's desire is for us to grow and be small at the same time. And I know that that doesn't make sense, but he wants you to grow your network, grow your influence, but to stay small at the same time. Stay small enough, that it's kind of like big enough to serve people, but small enough to know people. That's what he wants. Oh, I like that. Big enough to serve people, but small enough to know people. Every person needs somebody that to get their hands into their life. I have women that are around me and some men, honestly, that I don't have a problem putting my hands in the ugliness of their life. I don't have a problem with it. I'm not afraid of it. When they come to me and things are going on, like a surgeon, I'm putting on my gloves and I'm putting my hands in the ugliness of their life. Why? Because they trust me. They know that I'm trustworthy, and because I love them. I love them. And so somebody, you need somebody in your life that can help you when you struggle and get you where God wants you to be in life. Because real success in life, I'll say this, is having the love, the support, respect, and the correction of those that love you. I was thinking about Lady Sings the Blues, I think it was, and Billy D. Williams. And so I'm dating myself. If you've never seen the movie, it's a great movie with Diana Ross and Billy D. Williams. But she was a rising star, and she was doing her thing. It was maybe Mahogany. I can't remember which movie it was, but she was a rising star. And she started out when she had nothing with Billy D. Williams. And she got up to this plateau, and everybody was calling her, and she was a baller. And then, she said something to him one day. She told him that she didn't need him. And now here's a guy that walked with her in the early stages of her success. And now she's telling him that she don't need him. And this is what he said, and I never forgot it. And I saw this when I was a child. He told her, success, you may be a success, but success is nothing without the one you love. And so it doesn't matter how successful you are. If you get to the top and you the only one standing up there, you ain't going to be up there long. And so you need to realize, to get where you ultimately desire to be, you're going to have to do what you do, realizing that you need other people around you to do it, but also realizing that you're doing what you're doing so that you can serve humanity in some way, somehow. And so as I thought about all of this, I've had times of frustration and days of feeling isolated and alone. And had it not been for the people in my inner circle, I most certainly would have quit. But what would have happened, if I didn't have a person to be transparent with, somebody that was listening to me? I wouldn't be on this line today. And so some of you that send me your letters and your inboxes and your emails and your phone calls, I wouldn't be receiving those things. You wouldn't be connecting with me. Why? Because I would have quit. And so I realized that my life is significant because it's affecting your life. Your life is significant because it's affecting somebody else's life. And so God wants us connecting on an intimate level so that he can get his hands into all of our lives. And this is the model, of life, business, ministry. All of us should be thinking about how we can add value to somebody else's life. I was I was watching one time the Preachers of LA, and one of the cast members made me mad because he's telling somebody to stay out of his business. But what you have to understand is that if you want me in your life, you want me in your business. I'm my brother's keeper. And so we encounter people who want to deal with you at arm's length because they don't want to be accountable to anybody. But we have to be accountable to one another. And so how can my fingers tell my arms, stay out of my business? My fingers can't do that. They want to do what they want to do, but they want to do what they want to do, but they can't do what they want to do because where my arm goes, my fingers go. And vice versa. Where my fingers go, my arm goes. So you can't tell me to stay out of your business if you're connected to me, and I'm connected to you. So this is, I don't want to get off, but this is something that I think is so critical to all of us. We talk about this teaching, they call it the 4 aspects of a person's life. And I did it when I was talking about the power of relationships. But there's the arena you, there's that public you. This is your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram page. It's what you want people to see about you. The part of you that that people don't have a problem encountering, or that you don't have a problem with people encountering. And this is where this is all that most people will ever see about you. This is the side that Sunday morning church service touches, and all of that. The side, the good side, the made up side. When I woke up this morning, my hair wasn't combed. When I woke up this morning, I didn't have this shirt on. I didn't have this makeup on. That's the side. This is the side of you I want you to see of me. Then there's the masking side of you. It's the stuff, you and God know about, but nobody else knows about. Things that you won't let others see about your life. But I love what somebody once said: if you're the only one that knows about you, you have a problem, because you're only as sick as your secrets. And I said that to you all before. Somebody else needs to know the masking you. What are you covering that nobody else knows about? The addictions, the mistreatment of your family. What are the things that are going on in your life that nobody else knows about? What is it about you that you're holding that's a secret? Somebody else needs to know. What does this have to do with your transitions? It has to do everything with your transitions. Why? Because when you come out of these transitions of life, God is going to use you to walk somebody else through theirs. And you need to be ready. And you need to be able to see all of the signs of walking with people. There's the Facebook me, and then there's the masking me. And then there's another side of us that we don't often talk about. That's the blind spot you. This is the side of you that you can't see, but everybody else does see. This is the side that when somebody tells you that you have a problem, you don't agree with it because you can't see it. This is the toilet paper hanging out of your pants that everybody sees that you don't see, right? All of us have that blind spot side, and you need to let somebody in your life so that they can tell you, you didn't say that right. You didn't do that right. You didn't treat them right. And then last but not least, there's the potential you. This is the part of you that neither you nor anybody else knows about, but God knows. It's the part of you that exists. It's the untapped ability that's on the inside of you. Your arm has the potential to lift great things, but apart from the rest of the body, it can't do anything. The arm's potential is only realized when it's connected to the body, and it's the same with your life. Your life has untapped potential, but if you're alone, and you're refusing to connect with anybody else, your potential will never be realized or released. And so this is really, really important. Who are you? What side of you are you allowing people to see or engage with? It's really, really important that you get with a group of people, allowing people to help you get where you're supposed to be. Why? Because ultimately you're going to be helping somebody else get where they're supposed to be. I hope I've said something today that's opened your eyes, enlightened you, helped you, because I want you to be the best version of you that you can be. Remember, do it well. This is your life. You only get to live it one time. Live it doing everything in excellence. That's the order of the day for me right now. Whatever I'm going to do it in excellence, or I'm not going to do it at all. God bless you all. This is Fresh Baked Manna Live. This is Thanksgiving, the day before Thanksgiving. We will not be doing Fresh Baked Manna in the morning, nor will we be hosting it on Friday. So you guys rest, enjoy your families. No Fresh Baked Manna Live tomorrow for Thanksgiving, and none for Friday. Be your best. Join us if you will tonight at 6:30. We're going to be doing a complete worship set with Felicia Harris and our worship team. It's going to be awesome. 6:30 Central Standard Time. I love you guys so much. I believe in you. I believe that there's greatness in you. Pull out that potential you. Let God show you all that you can be in life. Love you. See you on Monday. All right. Bye-bye.